Hey everybody, it's Dick Vet, your friendly neighborhood veteran, and this is part one of the Warriors Reflection series. They said I would be changed in my body. Military life takes its toll. It's an all encompassing thing, but let's start with physically and in regards to what you do. Living in military culture, we developed a dehumanized sense of self. Much of our training and conditioning in the military is useful to accomplish a mission, but is damaging and very unhealthy in the long term. Whatever self care we did do was in order to be a capable warrior, not a healthy person. If you were to compare military training to an Olympian's training program, you'd see a drastic difference in maybe the military has temporary benefits, but long term consequences, and the Olympians training program would be designed to create their optimal self. That's the crux of the problems that veterans face. The military does not face the consequences of their short sighted and destructive training standards, nor does it educate the veteran how to deal with living with permanent consequences. When I explained it to my kids, I told them we play video games, and I said I took a perk that gave me temporary buffs during war, but when the duration ended, those buffs turned into permanent debuffs and stat penalties for the rest of my life. So, for the beginning, there is no first step to growth that works for everyone, because everyone is at a different place in their path of life. Growth is doing the next right thing for you in your life. Nobody should tell you how to live your life. So what you should do is something that you know internally, deep down, and it's for you to decide. When I got to this point as a counselor working with veterans, they would just have described all of the plethora of issues that they're facing and that they want help with, and we have to talk about, well, which one first? What do you want to focus on first? And they'd be like, oh man, I don't know. And they'd be looking at all the issues in their life and pondering. And I'd say, well, you have to decide, but if I picked, I'm gonna pick. Right now you're thinking about them all. Which one do you really hope that I don't pick? Because that's probably the one you need to work on, right? My guidance for you is to find your own way, implementing your commitment to change your life. I point to tools to set you up for success. I'm a glorified signpost pointing the hard way uphill with climbing gear laid out nearby. Choosing a new direction in life requires the beginning of new habits, letting go of your comfort zone, and repeatedly reinforcing your openness, your humility, and your discipline. So the first signpost says, create 3 spaces in your life for growth to even happen. Because everyone already has a life full of commitments, habits, and routines. Adopting a lifestyle of growth requires modifying the actual structure of your current lifestyle. You got to stop acting like growth and healing or maturity is something you get around to in your spare time. And also don't overwhelm yourself in thinking that it has to take over your life. There's a healthy middle ground. So, cleanse 3 spaces. The first space is 1 hour daily. This is a frequent activity usually seen in adopting coping skills. This is the thing you're trying to instill on a daily routine or multiple times a day as a new response to daily situations. This can be exercise, reading, eating healthy, a change in your routine, like bedtime routine or morning routine, journaling, or a daily reaction change, like breathing exercises every time you drive to negate your road rage. Each habit takes 90 days of consistency before it starts becoming automatic. So if someone needed to start diet and exercise because they're unhealthy and overweight, it would be best to start exercise and then after 3 months, start a diet and keep exercising. So, when prioritizing what to tackle first, also consider that at this pace, you can accomplish 4 major changes in your daily life after a year of work. The second space requires 4 to 12 hours weekly, including recovery time, depending on skill. This is when you take on the challenge that your daily habits have been preparing you for, or for a habit that just takes a chunk of time to accomplish. Also, other daily habits that need to start with a learning curve. Like if you're learning an instrument, it might be good to start with a weekly activity for hours, and then when you're familiar and it doesn't take forever to set up and actually start practicing, you can turn that into a daily practice. Other times the habit is to test the development of your daily, pushing myself longer or for more intensity to find my breaking point. When I was meditating 10 minutes every day, every week, I would start a timer and see how long I could stay in that focused state, pushing myself towards an hour and then later hours. If you're journaling every day, this is when you read all your past entries and write an analysis or share what you're learning with your mentor. It's best to schedule all day for this, even if it doesn't take long. The rest of the day is self-care. Similar to daily habit, it can change over time, should change over time, but keep habit shifts on that same 90-day cycle for optimal success. The third space is seasonal. It's every few months, once a season, scheduled for 2 to 3 days. Maybe this is when you see your counselor or mentor and take a day after to process and ponder whatever was discussed. It can be when you go out into nature to work out something deep that's been rising up to the surface, like dealing with an anniversary of trauma. This is when you or your squad of vets go out on an excursion. There are organizations that take veterans on fishing, hunting, rafting trips. There's equestrian therapy, there's silent meditation retreats, there's all kinds of stuff. It could be camping or a beach trip or a conference with guest speakers about growth and healing. Perhaps I've even done cleansing, sweat lodges with Native Americans. I've done all these things. And there are many programs that are free for the veteran, usually ran by veterans. But the whole point is it is a time dedicated to learning, deep self-evaluation, journaling, fellowship with other veterans, and it involves getting outside of your comfort zone. This is where you decide also the next frequent habits you're going to attempt to adopt. So you line this up with your 90-day shifts in habit changes. This is the highest intensity, longest duration, but it's only 4 times a year. This is the thing you are preparing for, these big moments where you shift into the next stage of your growth. Those are the 3 spaces that need room in your life for anything to change. So, make space to climb your mountain. And better yet, find a squad and climb together as brothers and sisters. And on your path, keep your eye out for signs pointing the way. This is StickVet, signing off.